With Dungeon 17 being right around the corner, a bunch of new leaks have been announced, revealing the name of the dungeon, new armor, the map, and even more. So in this video, I'm going to be covering everything we know about the Abyssal Void. But before that, make sure to like and subscribe for more Abyssal Void content. Now, if you've watched my other video regarding the Dungeon 17 sneak peeks, you may have seen all of the ancient styled cipher drawings. But ever since that video, actual leaks showing Abyssal Void content have started to be released. The first one having a similar style to the ciphers, except showing a purple silhouette, which appears to be a new mob, and this text translates to the Twilight Knight, the forlorn hero. And after tampering with the tone curves of this image, a fracture of what seems to be a new armor is revealed, along with a new weapon behind the mob. This weapon is either a new cosmetic or weapon from Abyssal Void, which I think we can all assume it's a new weapon because who would tease a cosmetic? However, the small image of what looks like an armor piece can't really be made out to be much yet, but in the next sneak peek, even more content is uncovered, as the text reads, the Fallen, the Forgotten, most likely the names or at least a description of the two mobs shown on screen. And after repeating the same image enhancements from before, two things are to be seen, one of which looks like some sort of void spider, which resembles the same mobs from the older sneak peeks, and another fracture, yet this time clearly resembling a part of the leg of an armor set. However, this next sneak peek reveals more than just some mobs, and it could be either a new boss or just a stronger mob, as it seems to appear larger than the previous mob shown. But the text says, the brutes, the horrors. So maybe this is a new brute mob that is similar to the warlock from Winter Outpost, which is a strong figure but just a mob at the same time. And when messing with the tone curves once again, we can see yet another armor fracture, but this time half of what seems to be another mob. And after flipping it, this is it. Not much to say about it, but it looks pretty cool. And this next one looks rather interesting, seeming to have some sort of snake head in an awkward position coming out of the body. But anyway, this text says the Exalter, the mutant. So yeah, that makes sense. It looks like this mob is a mutated version of a mob, I guess, and apparently it has a high rank and power. Not sure what that really means, to be honest. But once again, applying the tone curves, we get yet another fracture of an armor set. This time it looks like the right shoulder of an armor. And finally, for this style of ciphers, is this dragon looking thing right here. The text says the Void Fallen, the Vessel. So apparently this is Atlas, but in the void form after getting possessed by the Voidborn. I'm assuming this will definitely be a boss in the new dungeon, because there's no way this character has this much hype built up just to be nothing. I actually do have a theory. If they continue with the 4 bosses in Abyssal Void, maybe the third boss could be the Voidborn, and after you defeat him, there's a cutscene into the Void Fallen Atlas. But then again, who knows? A lot of negative feedback on the cutscene idea, so they might not even bring that back. But anyways, after applying the tone curves, what a surprise, another fracture. And after piecing together all of the fractures from all of these ciphers, this is it right here, the full set. Now, from what I can assume, I'm guessing this is the tier 3 mage set, because firstly, there's no way they made us collect all of these clues for a lower tier armor set, and secondly, it's purple, probably a mage set. However, the entire dungeon seems to be purple themed, so who knows. But then after a few more days of anticipating the next teaser of this dungeon, the official trailer is announced to premiere. Right off the bat, before even getting to watch the video, we can see a whole entire set in the thumbnail, as well as part of the map in the background, making this the first official actual leak of the map and armor. But before this trailer premieres, only 3 hours before, a new sneak peek is announced, this time showing a red lit room with ciphers all over the walls, and most importantly, a path leading down into what I can assume is the abyss, especially because of the purple lighting emerging from the hole. But anyways, let me go ahead and play the trailer.
Guided by an ancient prophecy, we discovered a world lost to time. Blinded by our own ambition, we dove deeper into the abyss. Whatever awoke beyond that gate, it wants out.
So yeah, that was it. Pretty short trailer, but it was still cool in my opinion. And at the start here, we can see what I believe is a part of the new dungeon, with a weird pattern on the door and grass and mushrooms for some reason. I thought this was the Void, but we don't know yet. There's also 2 NPCs, one holding a craftable weapon and the other being a king. However, I think these are just random models to show the progression or something. I doubt these have anything to do with the dungeon, but according to the narration, they discovered this world. So this could be before they actually enter the abyss, which could be the the first part of the dungeon. Then we see the same adventurer holding a torch while looking at one of the older ciphers displayed on the wall. So maybe we have to go to some ancient place, which is the same room as the sneak peek showed only hours before the trailer, and then enter the abyss. And it does say we dove deeper, so maybe that is actually what happens. Then this next shot shows a huge floating island in what I think is now the actual void, with a massive gate that opens up. It shows more of the dungeon, I'm assuming, but you can't really see much out of it. And then it transitions into a new dragon boss, which I believe is the Void Fallen Abyssal. And then we can see the new icon, name of the dungeon, and release date, which is October 11th, just next week. And just after this trailer finished premiering, a new Dungeon Quest update was released, including a brand new map overhaul being Abyssal Void themed and an official countdown in-game. Now the lobby is basically the same, except having the Abyssal Void lighting, which I'm assuming was copy and pasted right over to the real game. So I guess this is the official lighting for the next dungeon. And then some weird tentacle things protruding through the ground and parts of the houses. This might be something inside of the new dungeon, but who knows. However, only 39 minutes after the trailer, a new sneak peek is revealed, which I'm guessing is due to the absurd amount of negative feedback from the trailer, which is right here, showing little steps building up to a massive gate, which similarly resembles this part of Gilded Skies. However, this only sparked more negative feedback from the community since people were concerned that this dungeon would be a Gilded Skies Part 2, and 3 days later we get another sneak peek, this time showing what I believe is the room before the last sneak peek, which to be honest resembles Gilded Skies even more. But then again, it's supposed to be a little bit similar since after all it is a part of the lore or whatever. I still think it looks sick though. I really like how there are floating things around in the air because technically it is the void. But in this next sneak peek we get our first, well, second official armor leak. First, if you're not including the trailer thumbnail, which shows a red colored armor and a new weapon, but it's another part of the map which honestly looks awesome. There's another massive gate and just the scenery with all of the stars looks amazing. And for the armor, for now I'm guessing it is the tier 1 armor from Insane Mode just because of the design, and it doesn't really resemble any of the armors shown before. And then in this next sneak peek we get yet another armor set, but this time showing a little bit less map. Now I think this one is definitely from Nightmare Mode, however I'm not really too sure whether it's tier 2 or tier 3. It looks quite similar to this armor, but then again they have some differences. Actually, now that I'm comparing the two, I think the left is the warrior armor and the right is the mage one, which was confirmed by a mage emoji under the sneak peek announcement. The reason I was confused was because I thought this was a mage set, probably because it was purple, but now with this sneak peek confirming a mage set, the two just look way too similar, having the spikes on the hands, same legs, very similar chest, and then the helmets are different. So I do think that these two may be the tier 3 sets. Now for the weapon, I'm not sure what it could be. It looks kind of like a hammer or something, can't really tell, but I'm assuming at the most it's just the second best mage weapon. But in this next sneak peek there is a lot. First of all, the armor on the left looks identical to the armor that we had to assemble based on the fractures, and based on the fact that it was leaked right after the mage set, I think we can all conclude that this is the warrior set. And the weapon, once again, I think it's most likely the second best warrior weapon. Now over on the right we can see some mobs, including the little corrupted spider, the brute, and the knight, I think. And I think there's even something floating behind them, but I can't even really tell. And then yet again another huge gate, pretty cool. And one last thing, recently Dungeon Quest released an update that allows us to drop one extra item forever, only in dungeons and raids. But in the thumbnail for this update we get a bunch of new stuff. First of all, there are 2 items, one on the left in front of a green background, and this looks like some sort of dual weapons, but since it is only behind a green background, it's probably just another random warrior weapon. Still cool though. But on the right, what caught most people's attention is the ultimate. Now the weapon is blacked out, most likely to keep it a mystery, but in my opinion I think it quite similarly resembles the Gilded Skies warrior ultimate. Now will this be in the dungeon? Probably not. I doubt they'd add a Gilded Skies weapon to the void dungeon. However, I think they could make a corrupted version or something like that, but if anything this is most likely a cosmetic. And for the ultimate icon behind it, people are speculating that Dungeon 17 will feature an ultimate, but I don't think that is the case, since in Northern Lands, currently the only dungeon that offers ultimate weapons, the ultimate drop doesn't feature in chat, and when you get to the retry screen it even shows as a bronze dagger, most likely showing that Voldex will not be returning to the ultimate idea. And if anything, this is probably just a new cosmetic, maybe even a new ultimate cosmetic rarity, could be anything. And finally, down at the bottom, a brand new armor. Now this armor looks amazing, but I doubt it's a new armor from Abyssal Void, because firstly we've already seen a bunch of new armor leaks, and secondly I don't think they'd make a massive sneak peek into the thumbnail for an update. So once again, this is most likely a cosmetic, but it's still really cool. So there you guys have it. That was everything we know about the next dungeon, Abyssal Void in Dungeon Quest. Let me know what you guys think of everything, and if you are hyped for this update, make sure to like the video if you enjoyed, and make sure to subscribe.